I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and this is my review and installation of the rugged ridge Spartacus heavy-duty winch fitting all 1987 and up Wranglers. This winch is available in 8,500, 10,500, and 12,500 pound pulling capacities, and each of those pulling capacities is available with either a wire cable or a synthetic line. Today we're going to talk through the installation of this winch, which is a very simple 1 out of 3 wrench installation. Even if you're somebody who's not comfortable with automotive wiring, this is going to be very easy to get wired up. Of course, you will have to have a winch ready bumper or a winch plate on your factory bumper to bolt up any winch. We're also going to talk through the construction and a few of the features of this winch. A winch is a really nice feature to have on the front of your Jeep when you're out wheeling on the trail or even driving down those snowy back roads in case you were to have a situation where you got stuck. Of course, it's never a good idea to wheel alone, but even when you're wheeling with your friends, a winch can certainly come in handy, whether you're getting stuck in mud or you're getting high centered on the trail. Now, this winch in particular does come in a couple of different pulling capacities, as I said before. The general rule of thumb for your weight capacity for your winch is about 1.5 times the loaded trail weight of your vehicle. So if you have a 4-door with tons of armor, a big heavy roof rack, maybe you're going to want to look toward the 12,500 pound winch. If you have a 2-door with light aluminum armor or not a lot of armor at all, then you could probably go with something closer to the 8,500 pound. Now, the main difference between a synthetic line and a steel cable is that the synthetic line, while it will still stretch like the steel will, it doesn't store energy. So if a synthetic line breaks under load, it's not going to snap back, which can hurt somebody or cause damage. A steel line, unfortunately, if it breaks under load, will snap and can hurt somebody or damage some property. A couple other benefits of synthetic line are the fact that they are very lightweight, so it's easier to drag up a muddy hill when you're stuck, and the synthetic line isn't going to kink like a steel line will. However, a steel line is going to, in general, last a little bit longer, be a little bit more maintenance free. You're not going to have to replace it as often as the synthetic line. And the steel cable is going to be less expensive to replace when you do need to replace it. Now, in general, a rugged ridge winch is going to be a little bit less expensive than some of the other winches on the market. This is the Spartacus winch, which is their Gen 2 heavy duty winch. They've redesigned the solenoid box a little bit. But in general, these are going to be for those of you who are hitting the trails maybe once a month or so. You may have to use your winch a couple of times a year, but you're not going to be doing those long, hard pulls. If you are out there hitting the trails every single weekend, doing some really long, hard pulls, you're going to abuse your winch, then maybe you want to go with one that has some additional features that is most likely going to be a little more expensive. As far as construction goes, the body of this winch is going to be very similar to a first generation rugged ridge winch. As I said before, the Spartacus Gen 2 did upgrade the solenoid box a little bit. It's a little bit smaller and a little bit sleeker, but the body stayed more or less the same. Now, with these lower pulling capacity winches, you are going to get a 5.5 horsepower motor, and if you jump up to the 10.5 or the 12.5, you are going to get a 6.6 horsepower motor. Now, the higher pulling capacity winches also have a lower or numerically higher gear ratio, and that is just to give the winch a little bit more mechanical advantage and allow it to pull a little bit of additional weight. It's also going to lessen your line speed a little bit, which is why if you do have a lighter rig and you don't plan on doing a lot of really heavy pulls, the lighter pulling capacity is a little bit better because it is going to move a little bit quicker for you. Along with the winch body, as we said before, this does come with the Gen 2 redesigned Spartacus solenoid box, which you can go ahead and mount that right up here on top of the drum. There are a couple of different mounting locations for that solenoid box, but of course you do have to get to it to plug in your remote. This does come with a traditional weatherproof remote on a 12-foot cord, which allows you to get far away from the winch while you're actually operating it and doing your pull. This is a steel cable winch, so it comes with a roller fair lead, but of course if you got the synthetic line, you would be getting a hawse fair lead, and the roller fair lead here does have a couple of holes drilled in the top of it so you can mount some lights right there on the fair lead. It gives you some additional light mounts, which is a pretty nice feature. Getting any winch installed is going to be a very simple process. Of course, you are going to need a winch-ready bumper or a winch plate on your Jeep before you can get this bolted up, but all in all, you're only looking at about an hour's time. The first step in the process is to connect the solenoid box wires to the body of the winch. There are a couple of different connections, some on the bottom, some on the back. So go ahead and mount your solenoid box wherever you want to mount it on the winch and wire it into the winch itself. Also attaching the longer leads that are going to go from the solenoid box all the way up to the battery. From there, you can mount your fair lead, whether it be a roller or a hawse, and then mount your winch body with the solenoid in place. Once that's bolted down, it's really just a matter of pulling the two long cables from the solenoid box up to your battery and connecting it to the positive and negative terminals. And that's it. As I said, these are very easy to install. Even if you don't have any experience with automotive wiring, getting this wired up is very simple. There's just two connections up at the battery and a couple of color-coded connections here at the winch body. As I said before, this winch is going to come in at a little bit less expensive than most of the other winches on the site. This one in particular is the 8,500 pound with the steel cable, so this is going to be the less expensive option out of all of the Rugged Ridge Spartacus heavy-duty winches that we talked about today. But it's still going to get the job done. This is still going to get you out of a sticky situation if you are out on the trail and you get yourself stuck. Now, again, if you're doing those really long, hard pulls every single weekend, maybe you want some additional features and you want a winch that's going to be even more powerful, but also more expensive. But for the occasional user, this is going to save you some money and still get the job done. So if you're looking for a self-recovery winch to get you and your buddies out of a sticky situation out on the trail, you're going to be using it a couple of times a year. This is going to be a great option that will save you some money over those top-tier winches on the market. So that's my review of the Rugged Ridge Spartacus heavy-duty winch fitting all 1987 and up Wranglers that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.